That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good old-fashioned soul.
Where you eating at?
Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Gonna get some soul food.
It's a whole lot of money in this smoke. It's a whole lot of money in this smoke. Ain't gon' keep me run no broke. That broke get old. Ain't gon' keep me run no deal. Get too bold. I'm allergic to that note. My wrist game on cold. I might pick my coupe white just to match with my toes. Yeah, I can't wear the you bitches wear because it's cheap to me. It's some money at my table. Grab a seat with me. Cost a ticket just to cover all my legal fees. I don't hang with jealous. That's a weak disease. Hold on, run up. If you're broken in my business, then just shut up. I invested in my body, I'm done up. I look good, I like to I'm when the sun up. I put on my jewelry just to go to the bodega. And I keep it with me just so that I'm feeling safer. Fendi on my body, but my feet is in Bottega. I'm getting money, give a about a haters.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, it's time to talk about all that money. Our next guest is an author, an educator. She is an economist, a labor economist, one of the premier ones in the world today. And she is a writer extraordinaire with a hot new newsletter, which we will find out today how to get our happy little hands on. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, good morning.
Grand Rising, how are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm good. A little sore. Just came from the gym.
Okay. Not you going to the gym before the sun comes up.
Girl, please. You know, I tell people all the time I'm going to fight old age just like I fight racism. And that means I have to put myself in the gym.
You know what? I'm a big believer in that, Dr. Malveaux. We got to hold on to our cute. We don't give up our cute without a fight.
Not at all. I'll be styling and profiling if I have to go to the old folks' home.
I know you will. So, Dr. Malveaux, congrats on your new newsletter. This is so timely because the consolidation that's happening in U.S. media at the moment means less and less reliable mainstream news. I mean, basically, Larry Ellison now owns CBS, CNN, and TikTok, and not to mention a bunch of other cable channels. And so that consolidation means people like you bringing their analysis forth becomes crucial.
And also a sideline. I just had a producer tell me, I just gave him a jingle. I said, I haven't heard from you guys in a while. There's a lot of economic news. What's up? She told me, you're too controversial.
What?
She said, we love you. She said, we love you. She said, when things calm down, we'll call you. But you're too controversial. So
wow.
People are editing themselves. That Orange Man hasn't told anybody that Julianne Malveaux can't be on the air, but they're editing themselves. And why not? You got Brendan Carr from the Federal Communications Commission threatening to sanction local stations if they don't tell the story of the war the way he wants it to be told.
Which seems illegal, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's threatening to take away people's licenses, their broadcast license, which would take them off the air. And you're right. I feel like a lot of people are preemptively surrendering.
They are. I mean, but I think a lot of people are frightened. I mean, I have another colleague who was doing adjunct work at one of the universities here in D.C., and her contract isn't going to be renewed. Now, she is up in people's faces. She's probably about as bad as I am. And they just told her, your contract isn't going to be renewed. And no reason, if you're adjuncts, you're not entitled to a contract renewal unless you're union, and even then you're not entitled. You can fight, you have grounds to fight, but you're not entitled. So that's happening, all over the country. People are self-editing. They don't want to get in the crosshairs of this man. So you ended up with, as an example, which I didn't watch the whole thing because I got disgusted. The Oscars used to be a place where you get a little political spice up in there. It's like everybody's told everybody to tone down.
Yep, absolutely. After the
I'm
Grammys,
happy for
yeah.
I was really happy for Michael B. Jordan, but what has race got to do with that? That brother sinners deserve that picture. But of course, a picture that talks about the vampiric effects of predatory capitalism on Black communities is not going to get an award.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought. They gave Ryan Coogler, Best Original Screenplay, but couldn't bring themselves to give him Best Director or Best Picture, even though, as I said yesterday, there is no world in which one battle after another is a better film than Sinners. No world.
Well, I didn't watch that mess. I have nothing against any of the actors or anything like that. But I always think about television and movies and stuff like that. If these people showed up at your door, would you let them in? And if the answer is no, why let them into your brain? So, there's a lot of junk TV I won't watch. Now, I do watch some. I mean, Law and Order and Murder, She Wrote are my vices. And I would let Angela Lansbury in. I would let her in. I'd give her a cup of tea.
And you definitely would let Viola Davis in.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd let, Finn and Olivia in, although Finn, I'd probably have to watch my jury, but I still let him in.
Yeah. It's a fair point. So I won't ask your analysis, but how do we sign up for the Malveaux Monitor? I'm looking at it right now, and it's just, it's really, it says truth, history, economics, fire. Of course, we know if it's you, it comes with fire. But I can see that there's a lot of great information here, a lot of excellent analysis, and a lot of people need this right now. So how do we get on your list?
It's the Malveaux newsletter at gmail.com.
Okay, so
Malveaux, M-A-L. Well, your listeners probably know me well enough to spell my name, but let me do it for those who don't. It's Malveaux. It's a Malveaux newsletter, all one word, at gmail.com. It drops every Wednesday, so in fact, when I get off from you today, I've got a little thing I want to drop in there about the cost of this war in Iran and an interesting salient fact, which I won't give away, about the first woman senator in the United States. Or I might give it away if you beg. But anyway, so we dropped Wednesdays. So I'm finishing that Iran piece right now.
Wow. Yeah, well, I can beg with the best of them, Dr. Malveaux. But I just even the way you take an economist approach to writing about the Reverend Jesse Jackson is brilliant. You quantify, some of his impact, and I love that. 7 million votes Jackson received in the 1988 Democratic presidential primaries. That's just a number that shows the impact without a lot of flowery kind of prose.
He was my big brother and my friend. We both were born under the year of the snake in Chinese astrology. And one of his assistants used to call me his evil twin, which wasn't nice.
No, it wasn't nice, but it's funny because you speak your mind, so people want to call you evil. I don't call that evil. I call it honest. But yeah, if you got the latest issue of the Malveaux Monitor, you would have that information and a whole lot more. But Dr. Malveaux, this is a piece. I mean, we hear that the number about $2 billion a day thrown around concerning the war in Iran. And I know that's an underestimate because it's it's coming from the Pentagon. What do you think we might really be looking at? I know it's probably a range because we don't have all of the numbers, but what do you think we might be looking at?
Well, the $2 billion a day or $1 billion a day or whatever people are saying, that's the cost of operations. That's only the cost of operations. And what it doesn't include is the cost of planning. I mean, they didn't just jump out the sky. Well, maybe they did, but there had to be planning to some of this stuff, they had no plan.
Right.
But they did have some things they were working on beforehand, getting all the drones and everything else. And those were costs. Those are costs that people aren't measuring. The other thing we're not measuring, we have troops on the ground already there. How many troops? We can't get an accurate number. What are their salaries? Of the 13 people who were killed as of yesterday, and there may be more by now, there are going to be a whole set of issues about veterans and benefits for them and for others. So, when we say $2 billion a day or $1 billion a day, I mean, the Pentagon says 1.5 or whatever. But whatever they're saying doesn't cover the human costs. And that's the first thing we need to think about is human costs. The second thing to think about is what could we do with $1 billion or $2 billion a day? I mean, how many schools could be built? That's, how many schools, how many hospitals? You could just go down the list. And then the third thing is, what does this mean to budget? Back in World War II, of course, I wasn't here, but just looking at the data, the cost of war was seen as a collective cost. So we had war bonds. We had rationing. It was a collective burden. Everybody in the United States felt the war, World War II. Very few people feel this war on Iran until it hits them in their pocket. Like my trainer this morning was saying, gas in his neighborhood was 60 cents more a gallon than it was a week ago. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So you're looking at costs like that. So basically, cost of gasoline in his neighborhood has gone up by 33%, by a third. And he's indicated that he was planning to go, he's from Philly, he's planning to go to Philly, and he said now he's going to get 2 guys to go with him so they could split the cost of gas. And I'm like, you don't like them guys? He's like, no, but they have money. So whatever. He wants to split the cost. But the more we borrow, the less good our debt rating is. We can remember, Dominique, about 15 years ago when the U.S. credit rating went down. It had always been AAA, that's the highest, and it went down to AA, and I think a little A. As we're hitting on top of $38 trillion worth of debt. 14% rather, of our budget is interest costs. So there's a crowding out. First of all, there's an affordability issue, and then there's a crowding out effect. So the crowding out effect is if you have to pay 14% of your budget, so you're talking about, $8 trillion roughly. If you have to pay $8 trillion on interest, what could you spend that $8 trillion on interest?
Wow, that's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Dr. Julianne Malveaux is my guest. We got more numbers and impacts and understanding to unbox when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day. All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable, all month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Light a candle, pour some wine. Grab a roll, the soft kind for a little me time. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear. Wavy edges for my rear. So let the softness caress your soul. Just relax, you're on a roll. Let her rip. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has the same softness you love, now with wavy edges that tear better than the leading one-ply brand. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Also, waking up with Dr. Julianne Malveaux. The Malveaux Monitor is her new newsletter, fresh off the presses, off the virtual presses. And you can sign up by emailing malveaunewsletter@gmail.com. malveaunewsletter@gmail.com. So we're talking about all of this money that we are spending to kill people and destroy things in Iran. And of course, we've been doing that in Israel and around the world. But the two main, really Gaza, right, sending Israel money. And one of the talking points I hear a lot, this being a Talking Point Tuesday, which is I think it's a true talking point, but correct me if I'm wrong, from an economic standpoint, if we were to not spend this money, so much of our budget, on war, we could afford, say, universal health care, like what Israel has. They offer their citizens something like a Medicare for all. We don't, but we have enough money to pay for their bombs. Is it true that if we shifted some of our defense spending, we would be able to fund free college or Medicare for all, like other countries that don't spend so much money on weaponry do?
Oh, it's absolutely true. I mean, any of our socio-political problems could be solved if we redirected. I mean, $1 billion a day, and that's a conservative. Some say $2 billion a day. We could, for $2 billion a day, for $2 billion, we could build between 3,000 and 4,000 affordable housing units that could house up to 12,000 people.
Wow.
I used to live in downtown L.A. We know what that looks like. The mayor is doing her best, but the fact is that because of the sometimes lovely climate in L.A., it draws, unhoused people from other parts of the country. And then what do? I mean, education. We could afford full tuition for more than 100,000 public college students, folks who went to Cal State L.A. or, to one of our community colleges. We could afford to.
From one day of war?
From one day of war. From one day of war, we could build 8 to 10 community hospitals and fund about 200 free clinics, where, clinics. I won't say free clinics, but clinics that could be free. Yeah, I mean, we could go down the list. Our infrastructure has a grade of a C-, which we're supposed to be the biggest and the baddest in the world. When we go item by item to our infrastructure, we're talking C-. How many times in the last year, Dominique, have you heard about a bridge crumbling?
Yep.
It's been more than a few times. We could repair hundreds of bridges. We could fix rail lines or transit lines. We could replace entire city bus fleets with energy clean vehicles.
So,
and we know what and I could go on and on. I mean, we could support tens of thousands of jobs. We could create job training programs. We're treating this war as an emergency because somebody had a vibe. Okay, what's the rationale? I just had a vibe. Yeah. Well, that vibe. Has anybody had a vibe? You walk down an inner city street, a vibe that maybe these streets could be cleaned up. A vibe that maybe there could be more garbage. You talk about vibes. This fool is having vibes.
Yeah.
I didn't even think he knew what the word vibe was.
A feeling based on a fact. A feeling based on a fact. What the heck is that? Well, Sharon Kyle in the last hour made the point, Dr. Malveaux, that we are a war economy, that the United States is set up to profit from war. We sell weapons to Ukraine. We give them money to buy weapons from us. We give Israel money to turn around and buy weapons from us. And so is there a way to incentivize peace? Could it be possible? So I guess the question is, explain why this is a war economy, how that works, and then how it could be turned into a peace economy. Is there a way to turn it into profiteering off of peace instead of just the opposite?
It would require a complete paradigm shift, but it's not impossible to have a paradigm shift. One of my favorite, which I use when I taught media stuff, is how do you do a paradigm shift? Well, think about the fact that until the late 70s, drinking was very, very cool. And drinking and driving was very, very cool. Nobody ever said anything about drunk drivers, even though they were killing, hundreds of thousands of people a year. Okay, here comes Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. MAD. They put on a massive media campaign, massive. They were on television. They were on radio. These women were going to community meetings. And their message was, don't drink and drive. They started showing up at hearings where someone was getting a slap on the wrist for drunk driving, and the next thing you know, people are going to jail. Mm-hmm. People who used to get a slap on the wrist, they kill somebody, and they say, oh, well, they didn't mean it, they were drunk. Well, suddenly that was not an excuse. That, to me, is one of the most effective examples of a paradigm shift. So the question is, can we take the knowledge of a paradigm shift there? And there are other ones. I think that one is just very dramatic.
I mean, tobacco, too. They used to smoke in every movie. Every cool guy used to smoke, right?
Oh, yeah. And, you knew that the physical act was over when the dude rolled over and lit a cigarette. It's like, okay, they just got some. But they started changing that messaging. So the question is how we change that messaging and how we then unpack the ways that militarism is woven into our economy. But we have to go back to the beginning and remember we were founded on militarism. And when we look at the Civil War, the way that the Brits got themselves involved, because everybody wanted that cotton, that Southern cotton. So while they were our allies on one hand, they were sneaking behind the sheets with the South on the other. So It's a massive undertaking that requires enormous collective will, and we don't have that. There are too many industries that are getting rich off war. Too many efforts are getting rich off war. So you say, can we have a paradigm shift? And the answer is, if we wanted one. But we could go down the list and look at, Bechtel, look at some of the other companies that benefit from war. They're not about to lay their burden down. They're going to continue it one way or another. And if we don't have big wars, which we're about to have right now, but, World War II, big war. Afghanistan, Iraq, big war. If we don't have big wars, we have little wars. And we're all over. We're in, 8, 9, 10 countries, and picking fights with more. That fool says he can take Cuba, I can take Cuba. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
And I want to know what's wrong with Republicans.
I feel so terrible about Cuba right now. They're in the dark. They're starving. Garbage is piling up. And they've been resisting us for, 60 years? And
exactly.
And no one stands up for them. I mean, even under moderate Obama, we had better Cuba policies than we've had since. And it's coming to a head right now. And I just hate the way it's playing out.
It feels like the island is being basically starved.
Yeah.
And that's literally what's happening.
Yeah.
They haven't had a shipment of oil in, months.
Yeah.
That's untenable. They're food. Just food stuff. So people in rural areas are doing a bit better than their brothers and sisters who live, in cities.
Right, in Havana and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, and Havana is really there. I've been to Cuba twice. I went, when did I go? I don't know. That's how I decided getting old. I don't know when I went where, but I know I went. But when we went, it was a group of us who went with a brother, Reggie Van Lee, who's a business mogul, but also, a patron of the arts, and who used to be actually an Ailey dancer earlier in his life. And we went to, and one of the things that happened that was really cool, the restaurants were like, but people had restaurants in their homes.
Yeah.
Somebody's house, and, 20 people, sit down, dinner, reasonable price, but also just very pleasant, and you got to know the people. But now, if you can't feed people, so you have a trickle-down impoverishment effect in Cuba. And then, of course, there are some people who are living well.
Yep. Hold that thought, Dr. Malveaux. Hard stop here for news, traffic, and sports. We'll keep it going when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Local lawmakers are demanding answers after reports that 9/11 health program workers are being reassigned to ICE. Senator Chuck Schumer calls it a disgrace.
It would be bad enough if they just reduced the number, but to put them into ICE is a double whammy.
Homeland Security denies any 9/11 workers were moved to ICE. A white woman in Frisco, Texas was caught on video threatening to shoot a black mother and two 12-year-old girls filming a TikTok video at a public park after using a racial slur. The woman, Ashton Best, has since been fired from her job, but no arrests were made. The family is now raising money for a civil lawsuit. And Sean Diddy Combs is appealing his 50-month sentence, arguing he's being punished for charges on which he was acquitted. His lawyers call the sentence a perversion of justice, saying it's far harsher than typical Mann Act cases. Appeal arguments begin April 9th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tether?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers' winning streak is up to 6. They went into Houston Monday night and beat the Rockets 100-92. 36 for Luka Doncic. 6 straight games, Doncic has scored 30 or more. LeBron finished with 18 points and 5 assists. The Lakers and Rockets play again Wednesday night in Houston. The Clippers did not have Kawhi Leonard for their home game Monday night against San Antonio. Leonard has an ankle injury. The Clippers missed him in their 119-115 loss to San Antonio. 25 points and 10 assists for Clippers guard Darius Garland. Las Vegas and Seattle could be the next NBA franchises. The NBA Board of Governors plan to vote next week on granting a franchise to both cities. The entry fee for both cities is expected to fall between $7 billion and $10 billion. If Las Vegas and Seattle get the votes, they will start play in the 2028-29 season. The NBA currently has 30 teams. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580 host and African Focus Incorporated cultural ambassador. You probably know by now that every year our 2 organizations team up to lead a trip to the motherland. This June will be our 8th African Focus Trailblazers Tour, and it's not too late to join us. But if you've been thinking of going with us, now is the time to sign on before prices go up. Our current deadline is March 20th. Join us as we travel to a country widely considered one of Africa's most underrated destinations, Zambia, home to the towering Victoria Falls and the bustling capital city, Lusaka. Enjoy a visit to Botswana, known for its pristine natural beauty and stunning southern African wildlife. We travel in comfort with luxury accommodations, a variety of fun activities, and delicious dining. We do service with charitable work at a school and an orphanage, and we expand our horizons with cultural and historical excursions. To sign up now before our March 20th deadline, please call African Focus Incorporated at 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300. Or check out africanfocus.org. Whether it's in the community or traveling the globe, we move as family. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Let's go.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
She is a labor economist, an author, a professor, an educator, and now the publisher of the Malveaux Monitor, which can be subscribed to by just emailing Malveaux, Malveaux newsletter at gmail.com, I believe. Malveaux.
Yeah, absolutely. Malveaux newsletter.
Malveaux newsletter at gmail.com. Yes, indeed. So we're talking about a lot of things. The cost of war is really on my mind right now. I remember a conversation you and I had probably maybe a couple of years ago where you were estimating what we spent in Afghanistan and how most reports and economists just incredibly underestimate the amount of money, not to mention human beings and all of the other costs of war, but just the monetary impact being so much greater than most people thought.
Well, we get the cost of operations. We've been throwing around a number between $1 billion and $2 billion a day. The first 6 days were 15. Was it 15? No, first 6 days was 12 billion. So that's roughly, $2 billion a day. Now people say the costs are going to level out. What does that mean? Maybe it goes down to $1 billion, $1.5 billion. It's like $1 billion here, $1 billion there. But those are just the operations costs. That's just what's coming out of the Pentagon's budget. It's not all the other ancillary costs. The costs of life. And we always just measure U.S. life, Dominique.
Yeah.
We bombed a school that has girls in it. What was that worth? Teachers, I think 170 girls.
And not to mention rebuilding all these places. I mean, you look at Gaza, there's almost nothing left. It's like they did do the demo for Trump Gaza. So all of these are costs that aren't factored in. What about the cost to the planet? I know that the environmental impacts of all this bombing is massive.
It is massive, and the planet, the environmental impact is never accurately or immediately measured, and it should be. We know, dropping bombs is air pollution, and it's not just air pollution in those limited areas. It carries across the globe, but no one is counting that. And what are the long-term implications? That's the other thing. We rarely think of the long-term implications. So we're slap happy, bomb happy right now. What does this mean to our kids?
Yeah.
What does it mean to the next generation? So, and then the other piece of it is when we start talking about the environment, we in the United States come from a place of privilege. We've been able to control some things with our environment, not a lot, but some here in the United States. And then we go to UN meetings and say, we want China or maybe another country to manage their emissions. And it's like, when did we get to the emissions managing business? Since we, excuse my ebonics, ain't been managing ours. But we want to preach to developing countries, you have to do this, you have to do that. They're looking at us like, have these people lost their minds? I went to COP15 years ago. Actually, was in 2015. So, years ago. And I remember the heated discussions between the West, if you will, European and in the U.S., and the rest of the world as we tried to tell people what they needed to do. Meanwhile, what sticks very vividly in my mind, Dominique, is there was a country, it may be gone by now, called Tuvalu. It's the islands off the sort of South Pacific. And those islands were being swallowed by rising tides. So basically, the thought was that they should be, the people should be resettled and just let the islands go. But these were their homes. Imagine that someone said, let's just let L.A. Drown and go someplace else, y'all.
Right.
Let's let San Francisco drown, and y'all just figure someplace to go.
Yeah. Well, according to Google, it's still there, but it's threatened with 90% of the land flooding. So, problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people there were lovely, and, they were lobbying for their country, and, Al Gore came over there and had said a few words. But the fact is that very little changed, very, very little changed. And this is the case. If your God is the dollar, if predatory capitalism is your religion, then we will have war until we're gone. And we will be gone because people keep forgetting countries especially like Iran and those people have long memories. They have their
Right?
You can kill the Ayatollah. You can kill the Ayatollah's son. There's some grandbabies around there somewhere, or some cousins. And this is how you get these people who will walk into a building with a bomb strapped to their back and offer themselves as sacrifice because they mad and they want to get even. And we never think about that. And that is also a cost.
I mean, I think about it a lot with Gaza because of all those babies whose parents and aunties and uncles and brothers and sisters have been maimed and killed and starved, and how much pain and anger. It's, we couldn't find a more effective way to make a whole generation hate us.
Exactly. So we might get, 10, 15 years apiece, probably not even that long. But, you give a dance, you got to pay the band.
Yeah.
And the United States is going to have to pay the band of the destruction that they started.
That's a lot of pay. Now, the president has said that he wants to pretty much double the military budget. Do you think that is reflective of what he's doing right now, or is that this a preview of coming attractions? What I mean by that is what he's planning to spend on Iran double what we budgeted, Iran and whatever other ventures he has up his sleeve, or is it aspirational for a much broader war?
Well, given this president who's changed the name of the Department of Defense, which was appropriate, to the Department of War. I mean, he worships war. He believes in war. He believes in regime change. He believes in taking over countries. He believes in destabilization. That's what look at Venezuela. And we don't have to look at it. We can look all over the world to see the impact of this man who said, I can do whatever I want. And the tragedy is we have checks and balances written into our Constitution. We theoretically have systems where a megalomaniac can be stopped. But what you have here is Republicans who sometimes otherwise have good sense, sort of worshiping at his altar. Oh, very few of them. And when they dissent, when they digress, what happens? They get punished. So they're afraid to even open their mouth. So we have the only prayer we have to slowing him down. We're not going to stop him. He's already done all kind of horrible things. Is a midterm election, and he's working on that too. The SAVE Act requiring more identification, all kinds of other voter restrictions. He's pushing that very hard, and it's likely he's purchasing votes in the Senate. So certain senators who once had good sense are now bowing at the at the feet of that man.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't, I like to be optimistic, and part of me is, I was on a call last night with some women who are doing some work around the candidate in Maryland, and a bunch of us are going to participate in a town hall. And she says, well, I want us to end on a note of hope. And I said, I hope everybody votes. That's my hope.
Yeah.
I'm not pie in the sky. I don't want cream puffs, and honey. I want people to take this government back.
Yeah, I think that's the only way it's going to go down. Dr. Julianne Malveaux is my guest. She is one of the leading economists in the world, and we are looking at the state we are in, from war to budgets. All of it comes down to our everyday lives. We'll look at that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and featuring special guest hosts Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies,
I'll show you know how to work that.
You are the bomb.
You are the architect of your own legacy, but you don't have to build it alone. I'm Lisanne Basquiat, a board-certified NLP expert and legacy healing strategist. I've built the Shaping Freedom platform to give you the exact tools you need to evolve. From my signature podcast and Lounging with Lisanne meditations to our intentional candles and journals. Stop living on autopilot. Visit shapingfreedom.com to access the teachings and tools you deserve for you and your family. Your evolution begins at shapingfreedom.com.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Heading out of town this spring? Metro makes getting to LAX easier than ever. Just take the C or K train lines to the new LAX Metro Transit Center. Then catch a free shuttle straight to your terminal. Easy, affordable, stress-free. Travel smart. Go Metro.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin's Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
He's the son of a school teacher and Navy veteran who built a company worth billions and walked away from it. Tom Steyer, pledging to give away half of everything he earned to charity and fight for Californians. So when out-of-state corporations weren't paying their fair share of taxes, Tom Steyer led the fight for Prop 39 and won, earning California billions of dollars for our schools. Tom took on Big Oil to stop them polluting our air and water and smash them. Tom fought for free school lunches so no child goes hungry. Tom Steyer, strong enough to take on the special interests crushing us with the cost of living. As governor, Tom will stop Wall Street from buying up middle-class homes, lower utility rates by 25%, and ban corporate PAC money from our politics. Other politicians talk. Tom Steyer gets it done. Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
It is continuing. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist and author, is my guest. And I have so many questions. I'm going to try to squeeze them in, Doc. The whole idea of balancing the budget is sort of like looking for the Sasquatch or something in this country. But lately, Elon Musk has had the nerve to be opining on this after his massive failure in the Doge project. But one of his claims was that if every billionaire in the country chipped in, we still could not reduce the national debt. We still could not get rid of the national debt. So his point is, it's not just on billionaires. How do you receive that assertion from the richest man in the world?
Hypocrisy, and we know that. We already know who and what Elon Musk is. He himself, with his policies, I don't even want to put a word on him, with his policies, added significantly not only to the national debt, but also to the level of human suffering. When you look at a state like Maryland, which I mentioned to you, I was with some sisters in Maryland yesterday, they have experienced massive job losses because they're adjacent to the federal government. One of the engines of Black economic prosperity was Prince George's County, the richest Black county in the United States. Well, they've seen job losses that are just unspeakable. 300,000 plus Black women having lost jobs, and the number is going up. So Musk just needs to just sit down. But the fact is that he, with his trillions in assets, he could purchase a bully pulpit whenever he wants to. If we had a fair tax system, we would have a lower debt. We wouldn't necessarily eliminate the debt. The debt is a tool, Dominique. We use it. We add to it when we, quote, need money. We pay it down when we don't, when we're flush. And that's how it should work. So in bad economic times, we should be able to increase the debt so we can have more human services. And in good economic times, we should be able to pay it down. Somehow we let that get away from us, and we have lots of factors we could point to. Certainly COVID added a significant amount to the national debt. They blamed it on Biden. He didn't do it. But fair taxation would make a big difference in the size of our debt. Would it eliminate it? I'm not sure. But fair taxation would. There are other ways as well. We give trillions away to the wealthy in any number of ways. We could stop doing that. That would reduce our debt. So I don't think that anybody has been in the mindset of tackling this debt and looking at the debt as the tool that it should be, not as a credit card with no limit for war.
It's ironic that we're now at least 38 trillion. And according to PBS, the fastest accumulation of another trillion outside of the pandemic under Trump. And now suddenly Elon Musk and others are saying that we're headed for a day of reckoning and total bankruptcy, whatever that means, even though the Doge cost cutting didn't reduce the national debt at all.
No, it increased it. Not only did it increase it, Dominique, but it also increased the amount of human suffering. And, you and I, we all know brothers and sisters who worked for the government. We all know young people, this whole student loan situation. By cutting the Department of Education in half, hear me, in half, the amount of time it takes to process a student loan is now much longer. In addition, if you're going to, let's say, Bennett College, a place I know best in HBCU land, and you've gotten approved for a student loan, but your loan has not been processed, that means that when you go to register, the school has to say, okay, we know your loan is coming, so we're going to cut you a break. You pay us when the loan comes through. That shows up on my books as a debt. By federal law, a college cannot carry but so much debt. So when a college is carrying that debt, it's now in trouble. And if the debt gets to a certain point the college will not be allowed to access student loans for their students. I mean, Susie doesn't pay, so Sally gets penalized. And this is all because that man and his people cut the Department of Education in half, with most of the landing on basically student assistance, and also, of course, anything that had anything to do with anything that was so-called DEI.
Just got a minute here, Dr. Malveaux, but the affordability has been the chant. Making corporations great again has been the mission. How do these high oil and gas prices, how do the skyrocketing costs of everything, because we transport goods and services, we transport goods, and then if transporting them costs more, it costs the consumer more. How does affordability play into this war scenario? Could that be the key to peace, or no?
No, but I think that if we look at affordability and understand that this war makes affordability less possible.
Right.
As you say, the shipping of consumer goods is going to go up. So many things are going to go up. If we look at that as a talking point, perhaps it will turn some people around. I was arguing with my trader. Well, not really arguing. We were having a heated discussion. And this white guy jumps into the thing. He says, well, this guy's really conservative, and I try not to talk to him. He said he was talking about how much gasoline had gone up in his neighborhood. He said, I didn't vote for that. So if people that man, when he ran, he said, I'm not going to get us involved in any more wars. Duh. So if people look at this as a way, containing him is a way to make living more affordable.
That's very well said. So well said, Dr. Malveaux. Containing Trump is a way to make living more affordable. You can email her if you want to be smarter. I want to be smarter. MalveauNewsletter@gmail.com and sign up. Dr. Malveaux, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dominique. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Tavis Smiley's next. He's got a great show on deck for you as per usual. Don't forget to join me tomorrow. We're having Wealth Building Wednesday like we have every single Wednesday. And of course, meet me on socials. I'm at Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio everywhere. And we are at KBLA 1580 everywhere. Like my mama, the late great poet laureate Diane Diprima used to say, history is now, like I always say. We're making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Local lawmakers are demanding answers after reports that 9/11 health program workers are being reassigned to ICE. Senator Chuck Schumer calls it a disgrace.
It would be bad enough if they just reduced the number, but to put them into ICE is a double whammy.
Homeland Security denies any 9/11 workers were moved to ICE. A white woman in Frisco, Texas was caught on video threatening to shoot a black mother and two 12-year-old girls filming a TikTok video at a public park after using a racial slur. The woman, Ashton Best, has since been fired from her job, but no arrests were made. The family is now raising money for a civil lawsuit. And Sean Diddy Combs is appealing his 50-month sentence, arguing he's being punished for charges on which he was acquitted. His lawyers call the sentence a perversion of justice, saying it's far harsher than typical Mann Act cases. Appeal arguments begin April 9th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers' winning streak is up to 6. They went into Houston Monday night and beat the Rockets 100-92. 36 for Luka Doncic. 6 straight games, Doncic has scored 30 or more. LeBron finished with 18 points and 5 assists. The Lakers and Rockets play again Wednesday night in Houston. The Clippers did not have Kawhi Leonard for their home game Monday night against San Antonio. Leonard has an ankle injury. The Clippers missed him in their 119-115 loss to San Antonio. 25 points and 10 assists for Clippers guard Darius Garland. Las Vegas and Seattle could be